Hello there, welcome to this end of summer wrap up where I'm going to be sharing with you my top 15 darlings. These are from the new products that I tested out from May through August. I fell off the bandwagon a little bit with my every other month darlings and duds videos. Once we brought our puppy Gracie home, I just felt like time slipped by and I was living in puppy fog for a long time. So I just thought this would be a great way to share with you kind of the best of the best that I have been testing out. Also, most of these products are somewhere on my face, so I will point that out as we go. And I did film a get ready with me on this entire look, and that will be going up next week. So if you are new here, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on that video or others. And now let's get started. Let's jump right in with foundation. The Smashbox Always On Skin Balancing Foundation plus Hyaluronic Acid and Adaptogens. This is fantastic. I would say it's medium to full coverage, super lightweight, and it does have a wide shade range. I feel like the adaptogens and the skin balancing description is very accurate. I have combination to kind of oily skin, and this wears so well. And yet I've also heard from people who have drier skin that this works well for them because of the hyaluronic acid. So somehow they work some really great magic, and this is a wonderful foundation. Does not highlight texture or my pores. I love it. As for under eye concealers, the first one, this was kind of an early summer release, the Natasha Denona Hy-Glam Concealer. I love this. Obviously, I have 4 shades. I have one that is a full-on corrector, and then I have 3 shades that I kind of rotate depending on how deep my foundation color is and how much color correcting that I need for the day. Now, what's amazing about this concealer is it is super thin and lightweight, and yet I feel like it gives nearly full coverage in just one layer. And I do set it with powder, but it wears well. It doesn't make your eyes dry and crackly through the day. So it is a fantastic concealer. And I know Natasha Denona, she uses this a lot of times instead of foundation on the face. So it can work in a pinch in that way as well. The next under eye product, and this was a kind of end of August discovery. This was the Dalton Skin Genius Tinted Under Eye Treatment. Ever since I first tested this out in a video, I have been reaching for this almost every single day. This ceramic applicator right here feels super cooling. The formulation of this really does help perk up the under eye area, and it does give enough of a tint, a little bit of coverage that I can use this on days when I'm just doing like a tinted sunscreen type of day. But I have loved this paired with the Natasha Denona concealer or others that I love, like the Clinique concealer, etc. So I highly recommend this. I have been reaching mostly for shade number 2, but you do have a few shade options. Now, honorable mention here as another concealer that I've been loving. I'm not including this in my 15 per se, but the Dalton Anti-Stress Perfecting Concealer. This has also been really nice. This is more of a medium coverage concealer. It's not full coverage, but it feels really nice and lightweight. And again, it does not get dry and crackly through the day. So if you're somebody who doesn't need full coverage concealing, or you're like me and you like to do a tinted moisturizer or something on certain days, this is perfect for that. Now, as far as powders, since we're kind of in the complexion section, I have one new powder product. And I talked about this in a recent video, and somebody said, oh, I can't believe you would buy from this brand. There's so much controversy. And I'm like, quite frankly, I'm too busy to even know what the controversy is. I'm just talking about the product itself, the quality of the product. And that's the Jaclyn. This is the Skin Brightening Setting Powder palette. This comes in several shade options. This powder formula is so buttery, soft. It's slightly hydrating. I don't use this to set my whole face, but I have been loving it under my eyes. I love the ability to add that extra bit of color correcting. After I've done my concealer, I just feel like this helps the under eyes stay brighter longer throughout the day. And I love having kind of the different options. Again, this does come in several different combinations of colors. So depending on the depth of your skin, you can find a palette. But I have been super impressed with that product. And again, we're talking about the product, not necessarily the brand. All right, moving on. Let's go into cheeks. I feel like this was the summer of cream blushes, not only for me, but it seems like for the market in general. And I think all of the blushes that I pulled out to share with you are the cream formula. And I don't know, I just went a little crazy, but I have been loving these. I did kind of have to limit myself down. So my top favorites, first off, the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin blushes. This shade is Rosé and Brunch, and this is actually what I'm wearing on my cheeks today. The other shade I have is Bellini. These cream blushes, if you're somebody like me who's combination or oily and you kind of steer away from cream blushes, this is a formula you actually might really love. It dries down to kind of a more matte, slightly powdery finish. It wears super well. I've had actually all of this makeup on for about 6 hours now. I did touch up some powder, but I have not touched up the blush, and the color just stays true all day long. So I have really enjoyed this formula. Now, honorable mention, because this is the same brand, I do also enjoy this Danessa Myricks blush palette, but these are very dewy. And so if you are drier skin, you might actually prefer this formulation. This is also a lip and cheek palette, but I have really enjoyed this. So this is an honorable mention, another one of those, you know, not really in my top 15, but this is the dewy cheek and lip palette. And this is the color combination called Do It Flirty. But for those hot, really summer days, I've been reaching more for the Yummy Skin blush. So that just kind of edged this one out slightly. Another cream blush that I have really enjoyed the formula of is the Mario Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veil. I feel like when these first launched, that was all everybody was talking about, and with good reason. These have a very lightweight texture. So they are similar, I would say similar in finish to the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin, because I do feel like they set down very quickly, but they are more sheer in application. So you can build these up in layers. The Yummy Skin is quite pigmented, so you do kind of have to go in with a light hand. These, I feel like you can go a little ham and you're not going to be, you know, too scared at what ends up on your cheek. It blends out nicely. You can see kind of, it can give you a very sheer wash, a veil of blush, if you will. This shade is Rose Crush, and you're going to be seeing a theme of this color up here. The next blush, and one of the greatest things about this blush, not only is it beautiful in the formulation, but it is one of the least expensive brands and blushes at Sephora. It is LYS. This brand has quality, high quality products, and they're relatively inexpensive. So this blush is the shade Confident. I told you, you're seeing a theme, and there are some slight differences between these three blushes. I will swatch them actually side by side full on for you, but this one is maybe just a hint cooler than the previous one, but very pigmented. This one will leave a little bit of a glow on your cheeks, but there's no shimmer or anything. It does set down, it wears very well. Highly recommend from LYS. So these are the three blushes swatched side by side. This is LYS, this is the Mario, and then this is the Yummy Skin in Rosé Brunch. So you can see just slight shade variations, but on your cheeks, they're gonna come off very similarly. So just choose the formulation that you feel like suits your skin tone better or your skin type better, and I don't think you can go wrong with any of these formulations. Let's move into lips, because I really tried to narrow it down for lips, and I just have two products to share with you. The first one, I'm going to show you one shade, which was kind of my top favorite, but I have a video swatching all of the shades, and I'll link that down below. But it's the BK Beauty Lux Lipstick. Lisa J, who is the creator of this brand, she released several new shades in this lipstick line this summer. And this shade, Grace, I know, very similar to Gracie, right? This shade was one of my top favorites. And it is actually what I'm wearing today. I paired it with the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk 2 medium lip liner, so that gave it a little more of a pink hue, but it's a very nice neutral pinkish nude color. I love it. Now the rest of the line that she released this summer are super bold colors, and there are several in there that I loved as well, but this one edged out those and was actually my top favorite of the new releases. Now the other lip product, and it's kind of funny, this brand of lip gloss is kind of a rediscovery. I know they've repackaged these glosses. I don't know that they've reformulated. They have come out with some new colors, but it's the Anastasia Beverly Hills lip gloss, and this particular shade called Pink Ginger. I have a little bit of this in the center of my lips. This color, if you have been bummed out that the Huda Beauty lip strobe glosses are discontinued, this formulation reminds me of those. And the way I wear this shade is similar to how I would wear that shade called Angelic that we all loved. This shade, Pink Ginger, it's opaque and it has kind of a bit of a metallic finish, but there's no chunky glitter particles, and it smells so delicious, like vanilla cake with vanilla buttercream frosting. I know I say that and it makes you all hungry, but that's truly what that smells like to me. And I just love this, especially if I want to tone down a really bright lipstick. This is one of the ones that I will pull out to do that. So really been impressed with those glosses and plan on possibly checking out a few more shades in that line. Now let's move into the last category, which is eyes. And there is no doubt I have several eyeshadow related products here in this category, but we're gonna start first with mascara. I know several of you were shocked when I said a new mascara has kind of gone up the level and kind of joined in with my love of the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara, because you know I've loved that for so long. But this summer, Ciate London gifted me with several new products from their line. And one of the products was this Triple Shot XXL mascara. This mascara, from the first time I tried it, I loved it. And that's so unusual for me. Usually a mascara, you know, it takes several times, maybe a week or two for me to kind of get in the groove with a mascara. This was right out of the tube the first time. I actually have repurchased it because I used up that entire tube. I love how long wearing this is. You can layer it up, and this is what I'm wearing actually today. You can layer it up and it adds volume at the base of your lashes, but it doesn't add clumpiness. So if you don't like the clumpy nature of the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara, you may really love this. It's also super long wearing. It does not smudge on me. And most all mascaras that are not tubing mascaras smudge on my lower lash line. This one does not. And even when you go to remove it, it's not waterproof, but it does not just run off. Like, I've got to take my coconut oil to get all of it off. I love how it looks on the lashes, and the brush is just long and skinny. It allows you to get right into the roots of the lashes. Can't say enough. I love it. Now, there will be 2 honorable mentions for mascara. I know some of you are like, Shirley, you're cheating. You said 15. Well, again, honorable mentions because mascara, you know, is kind of a personal thing. So you might not like that mascara, but you might like one of these 2. From the drugstore, this was a huge surprise. Now, I'm showing 2 because this tube I need to throw away, but I want to show you the brush. I've repurchased it. This is the Maybelline Falsies Surreal Mascara. This has like that tubing technology, so I can wear it on my lower lashes. It does not smudge. And the brush, it's a little bigger, but it makes your lashes look full and fluffy and adds length. So I'm just kind of in that fluffy lash look, I guess, right now. So I have really enjoyed this, and at a drugstore price makes it even better. The other honorable mention is the Dalton Lash Miracle Mascara. Another one that from the first time I used it, I thought, wow, I really like how this mascara looks. and it does not smudge on me. This has kind of a unique wand on it. It's kind of dipped and flat on one side, but somehow this creates even a little more volume and lift and length to the lashes. Now this one probably between the three is slightly more clumpy in nature, but not really. In my try on video, you'll see I applied 3 coats and I don't feel like it got clumpy or spidery at all. So another honorable mention, but I have really been loving that mascara as well. All right, let's get into eyeshadow, my absolute favorite part of makeup. And thankfully I'm doing this video now because there have been several new palette launches kind of anticipating as we're going into the holiday season. So it's a good thing I'm doing this because otherwise my 15 might be all eyeshadow palettes. So let's start first though with 2 individual eyeshadows. This first one is the ColourPop Jelly Much eyeshadow. I had tried this formula a couple of years ago and I felt like it dried out very quickly. This one I've had actually for a couple of months and it has stayed nice and soft and moist. And this particular shade, which is called Field of Fairies, love that name. Oh my goodness. Okay, this looks like nothing, right? I love to either put this all over the lid, just all by itself, or on top of shadow. The formula, it's between a cream, it's not liquid, it's not powder. It is kind of like a jelly type of texture, jelly, almost like a jello type texture. But this shade, I don't know if a swatch is even going to do it justice. It has so many different colorful dimensions with that glitter. Do you see? It's like pink, and then we have gold and we have silver. And it's just that perfect finishing touch when you're done with your eyeshadow and you're like, you know, I need a little extra something. And what's great about this formulation is because it is this texture, the glitter is not going to drop down on your face. So if you hate wearing glitter eyeshadow because of the fallout, this is one of those formulations that you should definitely check out. You can use it even on top of your powder shadow and it will help kind of lock everything in. But I have just really, really enjoyed, in particular, the shade Field of Fairies. Now, a liquid eyeshadow that I must be late to the party, but this brand, Moira, I've been hearing several people talk about it. I've only found it on Amazon. Some people, I think in Texas, find this in their grocery stores. So it's a very inexpensive brand as well. But these liquid shadows, I tried their pot shadows and those are okay, but their liquid shadows, oh my word. I purchased 3 of them and I'm stuck on this one because I love it so much. This is the shade Sweetness. And again, I mean, look at all of that glitter. This is a great topper. I don't think I've ever worn this all by itself because it does have a sheer base. So you can see next to that Field of Fairies, it doesn't have as much color behind it like this one does. But do you see as the light hits, it just grabs the light and just, it looks so, so beautiful. I have a piano concert coming up this weekend and I am planning to use some of this as kind of like the finishing touch on the eyelid because I think as the lights catch it, it's just going to be beautiful. But this sets down, dries down, stays all day. Actually, both of these do. Once they dry, they stay put. So another great single eyeshadow option. Now, as far as eyeshadow palettes go, the first one, the Natasha Denona, this is the Mini Starlette palette. I loved this instantly the first time I used it and I kept reaching for it. And when you look at it, you're thinking, oh, it's kind of boring, kind of safe, but there's something about this color combination, especially when you bring in this cool kind of plummy gray shade. It just makes the overall look seem really classy, sophisticated. The shimmers, there's 2 shimmers in here, and I have just really enjoyed, especially this one. I wear this one all the time. Now here are the swatches kind of on my hand. I don't know if you can see that light peach one very well, but right here, just all of these colors work really well together. They create, I think, a really nice, soft, sophisticated look. I do have a Get Ready With Me where I use this palette, so I'll link that down below, but I have really enjoyed this. And her other palette that just released at the end of August, and that is the I Need a Nude eyeshadow palette. Now, apparently this is almost sold out everywhere, so if you've been contemplating getting this, hop on it right now, or you may have to wait. I don't believe it's not limited edition, so I'm sure she'll reproduce it. But this eyeshadow palette, again, I did a dedicated video with it. I loved this palette from the first time I opened the lid. These are just my kind of neutral shades. I love the two kind of rosy tones in here. And then these shades that look almost gray are not quite gray. They have just a little bit of some, like this has a little bit of plum, this has a hint of bronze. And then she put these two kind of topper shades, she calls them like wet sparkle shades or something. And then this full on metallic shimmer shade here in the center. Beautiful. I feel like all of these colors just work really well together. And then the final deep dark shade in here is just one of my favorites. I know every time I swatch this with my finger, I don't like dig in it, but you can kind of see it has a little bit of kind of a burgundy shift or a burgundy undertone. And I personally love that color brown, but highly, highly, highly recommend it. And if you felt like the Glam palette was just a little too cool for you, I think you will really, really enjoy this palette. And then the last palette, which is actually what I am wearing on my eyes today, is not from Natasha Denona, even though it contains very similar shades to this one. This is the Retro Glam from Natasha Denona. It is the Sakura palette from Alter Ego. This was a release at the end of summer, and not only is the outer packaging gorgeous, but look at these shades. And when I opened up this palette, I thought, I love what they did in that they paired the colors, the tones of the colors together. So rather than mixing them up like Natasha Denona typically does in her palettes, and what she did in this palette, this is how my brain functions. I try to pair the colors together that go together, and I just feel like the way they set this palette up, it makes it easier to create looks with. But that aside, in my opinion, this is the best palette that Alter Ego has done that I have tried thus far. They did send this to me, not sponsored, but when I opened it up, I was like, oh my goodness, I think this is gonna be my favorite one of theirs so far, and it is. And I just feel like the mattes in here are extra pigmented. They last really well on the eyes. I don't feel like I have to layer them as much as maybe some of their previous palettes. And this shade, I actually love more than the similar shade in the Natasha Denona palette, because this one, I don't feel like they added the green shift to it that Natasha Denona did. We do have kind of this one, which has the green in it, but I love that there's kind of this all-out champagne shade, because I feel like it makes it work well, whether you're doing a pink look, a green look, a brown look. And I've just really been impressed with this palette. Okay, I just did some quick hand swatches for you. Since I'm wearing a long sleeve blouse, it's a little harder to do arm swatches, but so this is kind of going from here on out. So you can just see how beautiful, and I love the color gradations even of the greens and the pinks and the browns. I just have been super impressed, and I just feel like whether it be the layout or maybe the slight little tonal differences between this palette and Natasha Denona, whatever the reason, I just feel like I've been able to create quicker, easier looks with this palette. So highly recommend. It's at a great price as well. I'll leave a link to that and all of the other products down below. But this truly cannot be a summer wrap-up video without sharing with you my top favorite thing of the whole summer, and that is Miss Gracie. Okay, here she is. Oh my goodness. I know some of you have been following her progress and her growth. So here she is. She is about probably 14 pounds right now. I gotta be careful with my earrings because she's swallowed one before. That's a whole story, but she has just been a love and a wonderful addition to our household. We just absolutely love her. She has one more week and then we'll be able to get her out on walks. So I'll be doing some vlogs with her, but Miss Gracie has just been our favorite addition this summer, without a doubt. Sweet girl. She's like, ooh, sparkly things. She does love sparkly things, by the way. She's very attracted to sparkly, shiny things. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye. Say goodbye, Miss Gracie. Say goodbye. Yes.